Now, Kamala Harris, she gets really mad when I bring up the stolen valor of her running mate. But let me tell you why it matters. Every single person here understands why this matters. Here's the record on Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. He dropped out of the military and allowed his unit to go to Iraq without him. And he knew they were going to Iraq. He lied about it, but he knew they were going to Iraq. Even his chaplain called him a coward. And those of you who served in the military know the chaplain is the nicest person in the unit. If the chaplain is calling you a coward, you must have really screwed up. He claimed to carry a weapon in war, but you ask him, Tim, what war have you ever been in? And the answer is he's never been to a single war. He lied about it. He lied about his rank, and he stood in silence as Nancy Pelosi and a lot of journalists praised him for his service on an imaginary battlefield instead of correcting the record. What won't stolen valor Tim Walz fib about? In fact, I believe at his next speech, he's probably going to say he survived an assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. I think that's what Tim Walz is going to claim next time. Now look, we don't criticize, and this is where the media is dishonest here, we don't criticize Tim Walz for his years of service in the National Guard. We condemn him for lying about that service for political gain. It's disgraceful, and nobody should tolerate it. My basic read on Tim Walz, and I don't know the guy, but my basic read, if you look at his military record, the lies about the rank, the lies about serving in combat, the lies now about IVF, even lying about like his food preferences, my read on him is that he's a guy who likes to just barely cross the line, right? And most of us have met people who just like to embellish a little bit up to the line and then they cross the line. And I think that's clearly what Tim Walz is. Friends of mine who used IUI and then some of them worked out and some of it didn't. And then some of the people who didn't work out, they then used IVF. Like, you know the difference, right? Anybody who's had a friend or themselves gone through fertility treatments, you know the difference, so why lie about it?
To know how you were prepping for a debate with Tim Walz, who has described himself as a bad debater. Who's helping you, and how are you prepping?
Well, I found a good friend from back home who embellishes and lies a lot, and I'm having him stand in for Tim Walz. That's what we're doing during our debate.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about weirdo, psychopath, and compulsive liar, Kamala Harris's vice presidential running mate, Tim Walz, who, quite honestly, I am very surprised that Kamala has chosen to stick with this weirdo as her VP, because this guy has been caught in lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, and it seems as if this guy has a problem, right? He has a serious issue that needs to be addressed when it comes to embellishing the truth. In fact, it seems like this guy is allergic to the truth, as he's facing more backlash over lying about something that he just doesn't need to lie about, okay? Because as you guys remember, he lied about his rank when he was in the military, the rank that he retired with. He lied about going into war. He lied about being an Afghanistan veteran. He lied about a DUI, okay? This guy has just lied about so much stuff that it's hard to keep up with the lies, right? But we have another lie here. Apparently, he is lying about IVF, right? He's claiming that him and his wife went through IVF treatments as a way to falsely smear Republicans as wanting to get rid of IVF, and that's just not true, right? It's not true at all. Again, this is a straw man that they're participating in. But throughout the course of lying about Republicans and what they want to do with IVF, he basically lies about him and his family going through the IVF treatment. Take a look.
Today's IVF day. Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have two beautiful children. He thinks he needs to dictate that. And I've been saying this, the golden rule that makes small towns work so we're not at each other's throats all the time in a little town is mind your own damn business. I don't need him to tell me about my family. I don't need to tell him about my wife's health care and her reproductive rights. I don't need him telling my children what books they can read. He's fired to do that with whatever he wants, but I'm not interested in it. And I think rural America...
Yeah, first of all, it was up to him. I wouldn't have a family because of IVF and the things that we need to do reproductive. My kids were born through that that way. And also I make sure that I'm the guys and our folks are investing in prenatal care. We're the ones that are there for universal pre-K. We're the ones that are providing school meals at this. I'm not going to back down one bit on this whole family values thing, and it's us.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Tim Walz was pretty unambiguous about this claim that his wife went through IVF to get pregnant. Just like he was pretty unambiguous when he lied about his rank. He was pretty unambiguous when he claimed that he carried weapons of war in war, even though he never went to war, right? These are things that this man just overtly lied about, okay? And he's apparently lying about this while lying about the GOP wanting to ban IVF treatments, which is not a thing, right? It's not a thing at all, okay? In fact, Republicans have bent over backwards since the Alabama case to protect IVF. Now, again, to be honest, there are some anti-abortion advocates out there that are pushing the GOP not for a ban, but for more regulations in regards to ensuring there are ethical standards and procedures when it comes to how IVF is done in the United States, right? But that's not a ban, right? There's literally nobody calling for a flat-out ban. At most, there are activists, not politicians, not policymakers, okay, but activists saying that, hey, well, maybe there should be some more restrictions on it because we have some ethical issues with X, Y, and Z, right? That's at most what is happening, okay? But there's no GOP ban, okay? But this guy is lying about the GOP wanting to ban something that he didn't even use to get his wife pregnant and to have a child, okay? So this is not a little white lie. This is actually a big lie. But if you listen to CNN, they're going to pretend as if this is a little white lie. He just misspoke once again, okay? This is what liberals and never Trumpers are going to try to say to defend Tim Walz, and yet again, another lie that he got caught in. So let's get into it.
Vice President Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, is set tomorrow night. The campaign is having to clean up some comments he's made about one of the campaign signature issues having to do with reproductive rights. This is what Governor Walz said on MSNBC while criticizing J.D. Vance. Take a listen.
J.D. Vance knows nothing about that. And then he keeps going into all of these things. Today's IVF day. Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have two beautiful children.
Now, that's not accurate, right? I mean, it wasn't IVF.
He lied, right? Just call it what it is. He lied. Now, again, you guys notice I just did a video about Andy Beshear, the Democrat governor of Kentucky, basically making comments in which he is wishing that J.D. Vance or somebody in his family get raped, right, to prove a point about abortion, which is vile and disgusting. Now you got Tim Walz putting his foot in his mouth, talking about J.D. Vance and this issue of abortion. See, this is what happens when you're a man and you bend over backwards to simp for liberal women, right? All of these attacks against J.D. Vance are backfiring, right? That's how desperate these people are, okay? They're reaching so hard to attack J.D. Vance on something that they're hurting themselves, okay? They're hurting themselves. They are humiliating themselves with their insane statements to try to attack J.D. Vance, right? It's really something to behold.
It was a different procedure, and his wife, Gwen Walz, the First Lady of Minnesota, is taking care to tell CNN that they actually used a procedure called intrauterine insemination. IUI. It's a process she described as an incredibly personal, difficult experience. They did use fertility treatments. It wasn't IVF.
Any woman
Come here, Sergeant Major.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. I want to.
Any one of the 1 in 7 women who goes through fertility treatments, IUI is part of the suite of fertility treatments. It's a step below IVF. It's direct insemination versus creating embryos. I think that is a stretch to say that it's not part of the broader fertility treatment.
The way they explain it is he just talks like how regular people talk.
I mean, my husband wouldn't know the difference.
First of all, my wife
between
did
the two.
IUI not once but twice, and then we did IVF not once but twice, trying to have a child. And so, as a father of IVF babies or whatever, yes, I would call. I mean,
You're not winning if you're making.
You would say it's the same thing?
I would just, as a man, I would probably mess that up.
As a man, you would mess it up. Seriously? Seriously, you would mess that up as a man. And see, this is... Again, it's so funny to me because anytime a Republican misspeaks, right, they never get the benefit of the doubt of trying to say, oh, well, they misspoke, right? That, hey, there's more context here that you need to understand. No, the Republicans don't get the benefit of the doubt. But when a Democrat lies over and over and over again, somehow, some way, according to Democrats, the guy is just misspeaking. You don't understand. He just misspoke, right? He misspoke about his rank, right? He misspoke about carrying weapons of war into war. He misspoke about his DUI arrest. He's misspeaking about using IVF to get his wife pregnant to have kids. He didn't do that, right? He went through a totally different procedure. And it's funny because this is not, again, a small thing. He's using this as a way to attack Republicans for banning a procedure that Republicans aren't really trying to ban, by saying that, well, me and my wife went through this, and if the Republicans could have it their way, then I wouldn't have any children, except that's not the procedure that you and your wife went through. Your wife went through a totally different procedure that Republicans haven't talked about at all, right? There is zero opposition to the other procedure that you're talking about. They're two different things, right? Two different things. And because of that, yeah, this is not, again, a small lie. This is not something where you can say, oh, well, he just got it mixed up. He didn't know. Okay, so if he don't know the difference between the fertility treatments, then why should he be vice president, right? If he's not careful enough with his words to the point where it seems as if this guy is literally lying about everything his whole life. I mean, at this point, this dude could be lying about some other things. I don't know. I'm just saying, the more I see from Tim Walz, the mannerisms, the gesticulations from his hands, the way he moves, the way he carries himself, I got questions. Okay? So, the more he lies, the more it's like, okay, well, what is true, right? What is true? What is this guy not lying about? What is he not lying about? But see, once again, they always want to get a benefit of the doubt to the Democrat instead of just calling out for what it is. He lied, right? He just lied. That's it.
This is a head scratcher.
Yeah, but why clean it up?
It's just just have your facts right as you come out and you're going to tell the story. It opens up an opportunity for them to now have to try and bury a clean up in their convention week in the line.
But we will have this discussion with J.D. Vance and Donald Trump any day of the week. I get it. It was inartful. It was not accurate.
It was not accurate.
It was not accurate.
It was a lie, right? It was a lie. That's what it was. He lied. Plain and simple.
The distinction is IVF is not, or IUI is not under attack anywhere the way IVF is, but it is part of the suite of options. Most people begin with one and go to the other.
We're glad that he has two kids. It's also important for politicians to be accurate. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, it's important for politicians not to lie. Again, see, this is what happens, right? This is the world we're living in, guys. When Republicans misspeak, okay, when they're not accurate, they're lying. But when Democrats are lying, well, they're inaccurate, right? They're misspeaking. You don't understand. They're not lying, right? They're not trying to mislead you on purpose. It's a mistake. It's an accident. Okay, please forgive them. But again, it begs the question of, if somebody is misspeaking this much, right? If they're that imprecise with their language to the point where people are saying, look, dude, you're lying about your life. Like you might just be a fake person altogether. Then again, I have to ask, why should this person be vice president? Why should this person be a leader of this country when he is that inaccurate with his language? Doesn't make sense. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not that he's misspeaking. He's just lying. He's lying. Okay. And he will lie for political gain. He will literally lie about anything for political gain. Okay. This man engaged in stolen valor for political gain. That, to me, speaks a lot about his character, which is something that, hey, the liberal media, Democrats claim they care about so much, character. But here you have these same individuals bending over backwards to defend Tim Walz, who has shown time and time again that he has very questionable character, right? This guy should not be leading a country. He is somebody that will literally lie about anything, and he cannot be trusted at all, right? I think this man has some serious skeletons in his closet. I think it's a mistake for the Democrats and Kamala Harris to keep him on the ticket. I think that those skeletons are going to come back to haunt him in the worst way. I think it's only going to get worse. I think this guy's a compulsive liar, right? I really do. I don't think he can help himself. Okay. I think he's that corrupt. And I think there are much worse things that are going on with this guy that we just don't know about yet. So, hey, it might be a mistake for the Democrats to keep him on the ticket, but hey, it's a great thing for Republicans. This guy is the gift that keeps on giving. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.